Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 63 based on novel. So let's start. Though he had fused with the soul bone, if asked whether he could sense any obvious changes, the answer would be a flat no. His right arm was unremarkable, not a glimpse of the previous fusion in sight. This, Xu Xiaoyan blurted out, was that soul bone a counterfeit? Gu shook her head. No way. Even if this is the spirit ascension platform, creating such a powerful 100-year dusk gold dreadclaw bear requires a real soul bone. It's like how ordinary soul beasts need spirit energy to be made. There's no way it's fake. But absent-mindedly, Tang Wulin transformed his hand into a golden dragon claw, the limb first showered in a burst of light. As his claw sprang into view, his arm swelled with power. However, neither that nor his scales seemed any different. They still sported a sparkling gold. How disappointing. Maybe your bloodline overwhelmed the soul bone's power. Gu purposed helplessly. Well, there's bound to be a difference. There's no way nothing changed. A bitter smile crawled its way over Tang Wulin's lips. Only the heavens know. As he spoke, he waved his claw, urging soul power into it. For a split second, he felt a peculiar sensation. His claw trembled and a dark gold light enveloped his fingertips. Although it lasted just a hairbreadth of an instant, he realized what it was. Whoa! You two, move away from me. Tang Wulin retreated a few steps back before pouring soul power into his claw. At his call, his scales obeyed, twinkling like the countless stars in the sky. The tips of his fingers regained their dark gold luminescence. Though faint, their existence was undeniable. A strange feeling welled within him. His heart rate skyrocketed, his blood a team of horses galloping through his veins. Its destination, his right hand. Such a sensation was overwhelming, immense, and he brandished his claw out of reflex. 5 streaks of dark gold light zipped through the air. All of a sudden, a third of his soul power dissipated. His blood was practically boiling over now. This time, what transpired was crystal clear. Gu and Xu Xiaoyan did not miss how the dark gold claws, which were a whopping meter long, materialized in thin air after a single slash. They only took form for a moment, though. I knew it couldn't have been worthless. How do you feel? Gu asked, her words nearly tripping over each other from their rush. Shock hit Tang Wulin like a lightning bolt as he examined his hand, eyes widened and lips parted slightly. It felt like soul power leapt out of my body. Like it extends the range of my claw attacks. But it consumes a lot of soul power, I'm already down by a third. It's even more demanding than using my golden dragon claw regularly. Amidst their discussion, a growl reverberated in the air as a jade figure peeked out from the thicket. It was a slender 4-meter-tall lizard-like beast. If not for its glowing body, it would have been camouflaged. The lizard's skull was enormous and its mouth flaunted rows of sharp jagged teeth. A sawtooth-like horn sat atop its head. Crawling dragons were a species of land dragon with a feeble amount draconic blood running through their veins. They had violent temperaments. Coupled with powerful streamlined bodies, these beasts took advantage of the terrain to ambush prey. Compared to a dusk gold dreadclaw bear, a crawling dragon was nothing much. Still, it was on the same level as a blazing demon lion. Wulin, this a perfect chance for you to test it out, Gu said. Light coalesced in Xu Xiaoyan's hands, forming her staff. She raised it up high and chanted, "The stars in the heavens that shine forever tranquil, grant me strength. My star wheel." It was as if a meteor shower took place, their tails trailing along the horizon, each ending in a glimmer of stardust. Unwittingly, time had flew by and it was already night. When the crawling dragon sensed the reaper's scythe at its neck, it was already too late. It was impaled by starlight, its body bound by shackles made of light. No matter how hard it tried, it couldn't move an inch. This was Xu Xiaoyan's first variant soul skill, Star Wheel Shackles. Completely in sync, Tang Wulin shot forward like a rocket while soul power surged within his body. He paid no heed, cramming it all into his claw. Then he stopped just a meter short of the crawling dragon and brandished his claw. Under the tyrannical might of Tang Wulin's draconic aura, the crawling dragon nearly released its bladder. A split second later, a flash of 5 dark gold lights flickered in the air. It did not stir the wind at all. In fact, the 5 points of radiance sliced through the beast like a knife through butter. Before one could blink, the crawling dragon scattered into a mass of spirit energy. Xu Xiaoyan gaped at the sight. Such terrifying power. It's just. Tang Wulin was of the same sentiment. The product of the fusion was definitely superior to his golden dragon claw. Although the latter was formidable, it had suffered from a lack of range. In order for it to be effective, he needed to fight in close quarters. That was all behind him after fusing with the soul bone. Not only did his attack range increase, his power was not sacrificed. Yes, these were dark gold blades, but under careful inspection, he noticed that they were covered in small scales. A mutation had occurred. There was no way one could compare the present form with the original. What made Tang Wulin overjoyed, however, was that he discovered the attack distance was related to the amount of soul power consumed. Pouring in 2/3 of his capacity equated to an increase of 1.5 meters to his range of attack. The best part was, the golden dragon Dreadclaw would grow in might along with his own cultivation. Perhaps in the future, its attacks would stretch as far as the dusk gold Dreadclaw bears. Indeed, Tang Wulin had decided to name the product of the fusion the golden dragon Dreadclaw. Even so, its power came at a steep cost. He could only use it 2 or 3 times per battle before running out of soul power, and that wasn't even at its full strength. Congratulations, your attack range has increased. Gu smiled as she approached him. Yet, a smile was absent from Tang Wulin's lips. Let's go. We should hurry and check on Xie Xie. Slapping the buttons on the back of their hands at the same time, the trio disappeared in a flash of light. Not long after their departure, though, a pair of jade-green eyes burst open deep in the forest, a terrifying aura swallowing the surrounding area whole. Sun with rays. After exiting the metal box and clearing his head, Tang Wulin darted out of the room. Upon seeing Xie Xie, huddled in a blanket and twitching like mad, Tang Wulin let out a breath of relief. Xie Xie was in bad shape. There was no doubt about it. His body couldn't stop trembling, his pale face soaked with sweat. Wu Zhongkong sat beside him. He circulated soul power into his body with the mysterious heaven method to stabilize his condition. As long as he had regained consciousness, everything would be fine. After many adventures in the Spirit Ascension platform, they knew the disharmony in his body disappear momentarily. Tang Wulin nudged close to Xie Xie with a smile. It's good that you're all right. I was worried you wouldn't be able to handle it. Xie Xie rolled his eyes. How am I all right? Don't you see me shaking? So, did you kill it? Tang Wulin nodded. Yeah, I avenged you. Xie Xie managed a few laughs. That's good then. We've finally gotten rid of that blasted thing. Now I won't be haunted by it anymore. You weren't the one who killed it, Xu Xiaoyan interjected as she and Gu arrived. Xie Xie said, you're always picking a fight with me. Can't you be nice to me for even a moment after seeing how much I'm suffering? Xu Xiaoyan giggled. If we let you be prideful now, then who knows how cocky you're going to act in the future? Xie Xie said, so you guys didn't cross over and take a look. To that, Tang Wulin shook his head. We were afraid something happened to you so we rushed out. Oh right, we got a dusk gold Dreadclaw bear's right-hand soul bone. He continued to recount the events that transpired. Wu Zhongkong hadn't watched it happen despite having been shown on the screen, since he was preoccupied with Xie Xie's condition. Xie Xie's jaw dropped. That's possible? A soul bone. You got a soul bone. Wulin, you can pay me back with it. Gu knitted her brows. Now you're trying to snatch it away. Xie Xie snorted. Is it no good? All right, fine. Then you can just forge my battle armor for me instead, Wulin. Tang Wulin smiled wryly. All right. Initially taken aback by Xie, Gu began smiling a moment later. As comrades, they were going to help each other make their battle armors anyway. They wouldn't have chosen different professions otherwise. Wu Zhongkong watched over them firmly. You've all passed your final exam. With the exam now over, the first semester of the 4th grade was concluded. Their journey, however, was only just beginning, as the next chapter of their story would soon lead them to the haven of their dreams. Sun with rays. In a room pervaded by and heavy with the element of darkness, a purple halo lit up, driving back some of the oppressive atmosphere. My lord, a deep voice said deferentially, its owner kneeling. In spite of his human appearance, he had an aura as frightening as the abyss. A petite figure emerged, a sight for sore eyes in the midst of the heavy gloom. She had silver hair which flowed down to the floor, and her 2 violet eyes seemed to pierce the darkness. What's the progress? A delicate voice rang, as if from a young girl. We have already completely integrated ourselves, and collected information from all parties. Please take a look, the black figure said softly. In a blinding flash, a silver claw gripped the figure's head. Intense shudders ran through his body for an instant before gradually easing down to a slight quiver. Sun with rays. On a high-speed train headed for Shrek City from East Sea City. In the most ordinary of second-class seats, the 4 students of Class 0 were bursting with excitement. This was their first trip to such a distant place. On top of that, this journey was bound to forever change their fates. The 2 girls sat on one side while Tang Wulin, Xie, and Wu Zhongkong sat on the other, separated by the center aisle. Xie and Xu Xiaoyan chirped noisily from time to time while Gu looked out the window quietly. Tang Wulin's vision was also directed outside, but his eyes were unfocused. He had many things to ponder. Wu Zhongkong leaned back in his chair, eyes closed, he was fast asleep. As he stared absent-mindedly out the window, Tang Wulin recalled the warnings received from his other teacher before his departure. Sun with rays. Wulin, I wish you success on your trip to Shrek Academy. However, you cannot neglect your blacksmithing practice. You must forge daily. In these past 3 years, you have made startling progress even by my standards. I'm certain that once you gain your 3rd ring, spirit refinement will naturally follow. It was clear how much Mu Chen, a saint blacksmith, approved of Tang Wulin for him to speak such praise. After recovering from his injuries 3 years before, Tang Wulin swiftly became able to 1st grade 1000 refine, and started to do so for any metal he could get his hands on. He had completed countless 1st grade 1000 refining tasks. Spirit refinement would usually be attempted once the blacksmith reached a 30% success rate for 1st grade 1000 refining. In fact, some blacksmiths would even attempt it while only having a 10% success rate for 1st grade 1000 refining. Meanwhile, Tang Wulin had reached a guaranteed success rate. In comparison, Mu Chen only had a 50% success rate when he first attempted spirit refinement. While Tang Wulin's situation stemmed from his low cultivation, with his immense talent for forging, he quickly honed his skills to such a level that he could instead focus on cultivating. Yet his discipline never wavered as he continued to forge diligently while also requesting guidance from Mu Chen on every single detail about 1st grade 1000 refining. His 1000 refinements were honed beyond perfection now. During the past 3 years, he had engraved into his heart every quirk and property of a myriad of metals. Even Mu Chen found such a standard too harsh to impose on anyone. He was hard-pressed to find even the slightest fault in this gifted disciple of his. Mu Chen did not dissuade Tang Wulin from leaving for Shrek City to take the Shrek entrance exam. If he managed to pass, not only would he grow into a powerful soul master in the future, he would also become a battle armor master. Soul power and blacksmithing complemented one another. Mu Chen sincerely hoped for his disciple to reach the greatest heights possible. Yes, teacher, Tang Wulin promised respectfully. Mu Chen said, if you pass the Shrek exam, give me a call and I'll make arrangements for your blacksmithing studies. Understood. Tang Wulin's tone grew even more respectful. Without Mu Chen's careful guidance, Tang Wulin would never have been able to obtain all the metals he had forged from the market. Mu Chen had provided him with many rare metals produced in small quantities. Only master craftsmen rank blacksmiths and above had access to them for the sake of spirit refinement. Despite that, Mu Chen had provided him with countless such metals and taught him all of their characteristics one by one. Only this way could Tang Wulin manage to achieve a 100% success rate for first-grade 1000 refining. Tang Wulin was aware of that, and tried to return the favor as he could. He always forged together with Mu Shi and led her along with his own rhythm, helping her skills to progress by leaps and bounds in the last 3 years. She was 17 years old now, and a 4th-rank blacksmith. To the public, she was the #1 blacksmithing genius of East Sea City. Mu Chen rubbed Tang Wulin's head. Be safe. Even if you don't pass the entrance exam, you can just come back and I'll think of some way to get you into a good academy. Thank you, teacher. Tang Wulin hugged Mu Chen with teary eyes. If he passed the exam, then who knows when the next time he returned would be. The thought of parting with Mu Chen was heart-wrenching. Mu Chen chuckled. Foolish child. What are you crying for? With today's soul technology, can't you just visit whenever you want? All right, go say goodbye to your senior disciple sister now. She's been depressed ever since she found out you were leaving. Mu Shi hadn't even come to the Blacksmiths Association in the past few days. She began ignoring him when he told her he was leaving to take the Shrek entrance exam. She rejected all his calls, and he was unable to enter the girls' dormitory. Once he was back at the academy, Tang Wulin dialed a number. Big Sister Xin, is my senior disciple sister there? Tang Wulin asked. She's here. Come over, Ouyang Zixin replied. After jogging together for the last 3 years, Tang Wulin and Ouyang Zixin had become good friends. She was now in the advanced department, and though not as talented as Mu Shi, after graduating she'd get into a higher-level school without a cinch. According to Mu Shi, Ouyang Zixin was a gifted mecha designer and prime new blood that many advanced academies were hoping to scout. Lacking the nerve to walk through the front door of the girls' dormitory, Tang Wulin snuck in through the back. With no one in sight, he scaled the wall with his blue-silver grass to a 3rd-floor window. The window was wide open, ready for Tang Wulin to slide into. It led to a washroom. Luckily, it was seldom occupied throughout the day. Ouyang Zixin was waiting for him. Seeing Tang Wulin land with the grace of a cat, she couldn't help but laugh. Oh, you're getting better and better at this. Don't go philandering too much when you grow up. Tang Wulin blushed to the roots of his hair and rushed his words, Big Sister Xin, don't tease me like that. How is my senior disciple sister? Ouyang Zixin said, she's been tiger-faced the last few days. She's so glum. Speaking of which, you're leaving so suddenly. I never expected that boy back then would take the Shrek entrance exam so soon. When they had first met, Tang Wulin had been no more than a boy. But now, they were the same height. Shrek Academy was the land of dreams for all soul masters. She knew she didn't have a chance, but when she saw the little brother she jogged with every day prepared to take the entrance exam, frustration plagued her heart. If he was accepted, then the gap between them would widen. Tang Wulin smiled, the apples of his cheeks dyed a delicious pink. It's not certain if I'll pass yet. If I don't, I'll just come back here. A smile tugged at the corner of Ouyang Zixin's mouth. I believe in you, and so does your senior disciple sister. Why else would she be so depressed? Tang Wulin was stunned. He had never considered this. Let's go. I'll bring you over. Ouyang Zixin retrieved a coat from the side and placed it over his body. Tang Wulin blushed at their proximity when she put it over him, a fragrance making him redder. To the general student population, Class 0 had long since faded into the backdrop, with sightings of its students as rare as that of seeing a unicorn. However, that didn't stop the two's early morning routine. Perhaps what Xie Xie had said back then was true, inside every man's heart was a pretty senior sister. Ever since they'd met, Tang Wulin looked forward to seeing her. She was both beautiful and gentle, always looking after him like a big sister. However, the two rarely shared a meal. If there was one thing she couldn't handle, it would be Tang Wulin's bottomless pit of a stomach. Because his return was uncertain, he had come to bid Mu Shi and Ouyang Zixin farewell on the eve of his departure. "Big Sis Zixin, are you still going to jog every day?" Tang Wulin asked as he adjusted the hat. Ouyang Zixin was taken aback, lashes fluttering as her eyes widened just a tad. "I will. I'll have no choice but to jog all alone." After a moment of silence, Tang Wulin resolved himself. "Big Sis Zixin, I like you." A pause. She was taken off guard by his sudden confession, but a sweet smile soon blossomed on her lips. "You foolish boy, Big Sis likes you too." Tang Wulin didn't explain himself. He knew that his like and hers were different, but try as he might, he didn't know how. Once they arrived at a door, she jabbed her finger toward it, whispering into his ear, "Go in. She's inside. Don't tell her I was the one who brought you here. I'm going to leave now." "Amen. Thank you, Big Sis Zixin." Tang Wulin pushed open the door and entered. As Ouyang Zixin watched it close, emotions warred within her like a storm, trembling, mystifying. She did like Tang Wulin. He was cute, handsome, and talented. Who wouldn't have a soft spot for him? Although Tang Wulin never bragged to her, the fact that he was in Class 0 spoke for itself. She had heard from Xu Xiaoyu how amazing Class 0 was and how Tang Wulin, sweet little Tang Wulin, was actually the team captain. "It's a pity he's so young. I can't like a boy that much younger than me. Girls matured earlier than boys." There was no way she didn't understand the meaning in Tang Wulin's confession. Even so, she could only pretend to be ignorant. If not, it might affect their friendship. "You'll definitely find a girl suitable for you in the future. If only I was 4 or 5 years younger, then maybe I would have snatched you up. I wish you the best on your path." Without saying goodbye, Ouyang Zixin turned around and left, pretending the glistening tears rolling down her delicate cheeks were just a figment of a dream. Sun with rays. Inside of the room, Mu Shi stood by the window, peering through the clear glass with her hands in her pockets. She was tall for a girl. In fact, even if Tang Wulin had a growth spurt now, he probably wouldn't be able to beat her. "Zixin?" Mu Shi asked deadpan. Tang Wulin stopped in place, calling out in a soft tone, "Senior disciple sister." Mu Shi spun around. She was stunned upon seeing him, but schooled her features into a mask of indifference. "What are you doing here? Aren't you going to Shrek Academy? Shouldn't you be preparing? How did you even sneak into the girls' dormitory?" Just go. It would be bad if you discovered." "I don't want to see you either," Mu Shi said coldly. Tang Wulin forced a smile, though it might be more accurate to call it a grimace. "Senior disciple sister, I'm really leaving. I'm here to say goodbye. You can be assured that I will never forget my blacksmith roots. If I don't pass, then I'll return. And even if I do make it, I won't slack on blacksmithing. I'll come visit you and teach you whenever I can." Mu Shi didn't interrupt him again. Instead, she swallowed him with her stare, eyes filled and trembling with unknown emotions. Tang Wulin continued speaking under her gaze. "Senior disciple sister, thank you for looking after me these last few years. I'll take my leave now then." He bowed to her before turning around to leave her room, footsteps trailing behind him. After closing the door gently, he was surprised to find that the hallway was empty. Ouyang Zixin was already gone. He let out a breath of relief. Senior disciple sister's gaze is so heavy. When his presence no longer lingered, Mu Shi's cold gaze thawed, turning into tears. That brat. He's really leaving. Since the very beginning, Tang Wulin had been a boy in Ouyang Zixin's mind, but for Mu Shi, it was different. To her, he was a young man. This change in perception transpired 3 years ago when Tang Wulin led her along with his forging rhythm during the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. It was only after that experience did her talents blossom, elevating her to the level of a first-rate genius. It hadn't left a deep impression on her at the start. Yet as time went on and she mulled over her thoughts, she felt as if she had been protected and blessed by him. Despite being so much older than him, she felt at ease in his presence. Since then, it was as if the shackles chaining her back were broken. Mu Shi made quick progress in her forging with Tang Wulin. She was now a 4th-rank blacksmith. She was capable of first-grade 1000 refining. According to Mu Qian's original estimates, such progress should have taken her 5 years. Ever since she was small, Mu Qian had hammered into her head the shape of humility. She was talented, but there were always those more brilliant than her. However, as she honed her craft together with Tang Wulin, her father began giving her more guidance. He gave me all of this, but now he's leaving. He's leaving for Shrek City. The day she found out, she approached her father in tears, begging him to make Tang Wulin stay. Mu Qian answered her, Tang Wulin doesn't belong in this small pond. His future is among the sea of stars. Mu Shi didn't know why she was so broken-hearted as she wept through the night. Only in the morning did the truth sink in. She couldn't let him go and wished to stay by his side. However, in the end, he was still leaving. Even if she was younger than Ouyang Zixin, there was no hiding her age. She was also 18 years old. From their 4-year age gap, they were destined to walk 2 different paths. When she entered an advanced academy, he would still be working through his intermediate academy studies. He was more gifted than her, his future as boundless as the ever-expanding universe. Perhaps she must resign herself to traveling on a path parallel to his, so close but never intersecting. Her emotions were in turmoil as memories of their last 3 years together flashed through her mind. Fate would not change for a single person's desires, and his departure was inevitable. Sun with rays. Wulin, what's on your mind? What are you daydreaming about? Xie nudged Tang Wulin, a quirk to his brow. Tang Wulin snapped out of his stupor and smiled. It's nothing. I'm just going to miss East Sea City. With that, Xie's jaws dropped. Aren't you arrogant? Tang Wulin burst into laughter. How so? Xie looked like he swallowed a lemon. Didn't you just imply that we'll definitely pass? If that's not what you meant, then why would you miss East Sea City? Tang Wulin pursed his lips, the dip to his brow becoming utterly significant. You're overthinking it. Although he dismissed his friend's accusations, in reality, buried within the deepest, softest crooks of his heart, he did feel this way. It would be a long time before he next returned to East Sea City. There were tons of things he needed to do in Shrek City, such as searching for traces of his parents. Before his departure, he had met with Mang Qian once. Mang Qian had been convinced that his parents had left for a major city. Since Shrek City was the biggest city on the continent, it was likely they were there. He had received a message from his parents after their retreat, stating he would have the qualifications to search for them once he became a 5th-rank blacksmith. Yet, in the 3 years since he had left Glory-bound City, he had not received a single call from them. Tang Wulin couldn't bear to think of his parents. Every time he awoke from meditation, his mind would wander in that direction and daggers stabbed his heart. Mom, Dad, where are you? He had matured a lot in this string of lonesome years. His resolve has sharpened like a knife. Mang Qian had said nothing, but it was evident something had transpired. No news was good news, until it wasn't. If his parents were fine, then there was no reason not to give him a call. At the very least, they should have been able to get in touch with Mang Qian. Tang Wulin did not strive so hard in cultivating solely for the sake of his dream of becoming a battle armor master. No, he desired the power necessary to find his parents and protect them. In his spare time, he had visited his home before. However, it had become an empty husk of what he remembered. There was nothing there, no personal items of his parents, nothing to suggest it hadn't been abandoned and tossed aside like rubbish, and the 4 bare walls felt as if they were closing in on him. He had visited again, though. This time it was a little more than a year ago, and he discovered something interesting. A double-layered wall hid in his parents' room. Within was a peculiar-looking badge with an even more peculiar symbol, and Tang Wulin couldn't for the life of him figure out what it was. He had recognized the significance of the badge immediately. With it being the sole clue to the puzzle of his parents' whereabouts, he safeguarded it in his storage ring. As the soul train sped along, the carriage became bathed in hushed whispers until just the squeaking of the wheels could be heard. For the young students of Class 0, the second-class seats were slightly cramped, but it gave them a sense of adventure. Outside the window, the landscape flitted by. The sound of breathing within the carriage steadied as passengers fell asleep one by one. Tang Wulin took a deep breath. Exhaled. Took a deep breath again. A journey is traveled step by step and rice is eaten by the spoonful. I just need to continue working toward my goal. On this trip to Shrek City, the first thing on the itinerary was to find 1,000-year exhilarating vine. He had the other 3 spirit items prepared and the dusk gold Dreadclaw Bear's soul bone had strengthened his body. He was ready to break the second seal now. Once he accomplished this, his strength would soar to new heights. His chance of passing Shrek's entrance exam would skyrocket. According to Wu Zhangkong's scheduling, they would arrive 1 week early, giving Tang Wulin just enough time to find the 1,000-year exhilarating vine, break the seal, and take the Shrek exam. His expectations for the second seal surprise continued to grow as the time approached. Compared to Heaven-Do City, Shrek City was slightly closer to East Sea City. The train slowed when it neared their destination. Then, an announcement sounded. Dear guests and travelers, we have arrived at the greatest city on the Doluo continent, Shrek City. Shrek City's roots extend tens of thousands of years and is a cultural hub. The legendary Shrek Academy was founded here, as well as the Spirit Pagoda headquarters. As the #1 city in the Federation, Shrek City boasts immense economic and political influence. Everyone, please take a look out the left window. The tower in the distance is the headquarters of the Spirit Pagoda. The 4 students of Class 0 flipped over to take a peek. Sure enough, a majestic tower pierced the heavens. Because it was so far away, only the upper middle portion was visible. All 8 sides sparkled with silver splendor, slowly tapering into the clouds, the peak unseen. The Spirit Pagoda's headquarters was the tallest building in the continent. Everyone, including Tang Wulin, knew this. In fact, the Federation had rules forbidding buildings with greater height as a show of respect. If the Tang sect was the most mysterious organization, and Shrek Academy the most illustrious, then the most powerful was undoubtedly the Spirit Pagoda. With their artificial spirit soul technology, the Spirit Pagoda was able to gather a horde of researchers, powerful soul masters, and amass riches on par with that of a nation. Its influence was undeniable in the Federation. In the Federation's parliament, 7 of the 108 seats were taken by the Spirit Pagoda. This didn't even account for parliamentary members under their influence. Shrek City truly transcended the realm of the ordinary. An interesting array of buildings surrounded the tower. Both ancient and modern buildings stood side by side, an odd sight. It was different from Heaven-Do City's air of antiquity and East Sea City's fresh metal scent. Shrek City felt like a vast melting pot. Its boundaries extended beyond what the eye could see. After entering the city, the train sped along for another hour before cruising to a stop. In his entire life, Tang Wulin had never laid eyes on a larger train station than this. It was at least 5 times larger than those of Heaven-Do City and East Sea City. An enormous dome roof hovered above them, marked by simplistic architecture. Sculptures were scattered across the station for travelers to marvel. Teacher Wu, where are we going first? Straight to Shrek Academy? Xie asked eagerly. Even if he hailed from a wealthy family, it didn't mean a thing. He couldn't control his excitement after stepping foot in this city of legends. This video will end here.